Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name's Andy R and this is the Brotherhood of Men, a channel solely dedicated at getting you men out there a better outcome in your lives, because even a little bit better is still better. Now, I do that by sharing information, giving you armour to protect yourself and ammunition to defend yourself in a better way. I give you my opinions, I share news stories with you, and I give you facts and statistics, things that you can rely on so it's at your fingertips when you need it. How many times have you heard this phrase said by somebody older than you? Oh, I wish I knew then what I know now. I've said it myself many times throughout my life. I wish I knew when I was at school some of the things I learnt outside of school. I wish I knew in my 20s what I knew in my 30s, and 30s what I know in my 40s. And now I look back on my life at 57 years old going, you know why I didn't know that stuff when I was that young? Because I had to learn it. And that's what this videos are. It's your brother Andy telling you hard-earned information so that you already have it at your fingertips and can make better choices. I have made some howlers over the years. But anyway, this video is, well, it was suggested by one of the comments. And I'm sorry, brother, I didn't look up before I made this video. It's no disrespect to you. But he said, you know, maybe you can cover in a video your opinions on going back to a relationship that's already ended. And I answered in that comment, I said, I already covered that kind of in another video. But for the life of me, I can't remember which video. And this is why it's so important for you watching this to watch these videos all the way to the end, because I do cover not necessarily just one subject. I cover it in great detail, and in that I will give opinions about several things, all of which I think are good information. But I would think that it's my opinion, and this is, you know, the Brotherhood of Men, and I'm biased. Of course I think my opinion's important. But in that I did say that I don't think it's a good idea ever to go back on a relationship that's already failed. Now, because I couldn't remember which video it was that I said that, I'm making this video all about that subject, just for my brother out there. And I do apologise again for not having your name at hand so I could say it. It just popped into my head when I got actually stood in front of the camera and decided what subjects I was going to cover whilst I was recording, and this was one of them. It popped into my head. So like I say, brother, I do apologise for not putting your name on there, because, you know, it's going to make a good video. Why do I say that I don't think it's a good idea getting back with somebody you've already split up with? Well, let's break this down. You've already split up with her. Why did you split up with her? When you first split up with her, maybe she was the one who walked away and you missed her like crazy, and you would welcome her back with open arms tomorrow if she knocked on your door and said, I made a mistake, let's get back together. That's if she did that the next day. Anybody can make a mistake. I've made some absolute pearlers of mistakes, some real regret that. And here's a point about regret. If you get through your whole life without having any regrets, you've lived half a life, because you've not made any good decisions. Well, you've not made any decisions. You've just flowed like a stick on a river. You've just bounced from one thing to another, never really making any decisions. You only get regret from making decisions, some good, some bad. You regret the bad decisions, and that's how we learn as men. We learn by the mistakes we make. And as I've said many times, you can't live long enough to make all the mistakes, so learn from the mistakes of others. And this is one for me. I have made this mistake in the past. You see, if they said that, so let's assume that it was a woman left the man. The man's missing her because he didn't expect it to end or whatever, and he misses her like crazy. She knocks on the door the next day or a couple of days later and said, I made such a terrible mistake, please let's get back together. In that situation you might go, Oh, yes, thank you. Because you're still in the I'm missing her stage. Now, that I'm missing her stage shouldn't be long lived. If it's 2 years down the line and she comes tap, tap, tapping at your door, what's she been doing for 2 years? Oh, come on, you know what she's been doing. Stop being so naive. Why does she want back with you now? Because she realised that you getting back into the wild, her wild, chaotic, drama-driven nature with nobody correcting her or limiting her, which is what a relationship does, that she's gone, oh, I want to get back in the wild. Then she realised the wild's a scary place. It's not working out how I thought. I want to go back into the safety. I want to go back, where I felt loved and comfortable. But all that time she was away from you, I can guarantee that, she wasn't living the life of a nun. No, she wasn't. So why would you take her back? And why are you still missing her after 2 years? Give yourself a couple of weeks, a month at the very most, to grieve the end of the relationship and then move on. Stop living in the past. You can't change the past. You can change your future. And your future should be so bright you're going to have to wear shades. And it only gets bright when you start thinking for yourself, start thinking what's best for you. And what is best for most men, in fact, what is best for most relationships, is you don't go back. Because you won't be back together for very long before you realise why you split up in the first place. That's the hard, solid fact of it. Look at the data and statistic that is out there about relationships that failed and then they got back together, how quickly they failed again. Because you haven't dealt with the problems from it failing the first time. Because you can only do that together. And you aren't going to do that together because you're no longer together. You can do it when you're a couple, where you can go to couples counselling, where together you work on the problems in your relationship. But first you have to accept that you have problems. And therefore you work together as a single unit to make you being together better. That's what therapy is all about, is making you better. And couples therapy is all about making couples work together better. But you didn't do that. You split up. One of you decided this isn't working and went their own way. And now they want to get back together. Well, you're still broken. It ended for a reason. Whether it was for your reason or her reason, it ended for a reason. If you weren't the one that ended it, you probably were baffled why it ended in the first place, and you got no answers, or you got some platitudinal type answers. It's not you, it's me. Well, yeah, that's right, it is. It is you. No, I don't mean you. I mean when she says it's not you, it's me. Yes, it is her. It is you. It is whoever. And you saying, oh no, don't leave me, that just makes you look weak. I'm sorry, but if she's decided to leave, that wasn't a decision she made that day. She's been thinking about it for months. And you probably have picked up on those signs that she was thinking about it, because she was getting a bit snippy with you, a bit short-tempered, picking arguments, constantly emotionally detached, all red flags that something's going on. And then she drops this bombshell on you. You can't turn around and say, there were no warning signs. Well, come on, you're not that naive. When you look back and analyse it, there were a lot of warning signs. And women don't tend to make these as a snap decision. They get them piecemeal. They get their justifying their decision to themselves, because women tell themselves and each other great stories. And that's the one she was telling herself. She knew she didn't really have a reason to leave you other than she wanted to leave you. So she'll make something up. She'll put something in her head. But she left. Or you left her because you just couldn't put up with her chaos anymore. There was too much drama with her. She was a wild, feral animal that you couldn't tame. So you went, you know what, I don't need this amount of nonsense in my life. I'm gone. And then she comes begging for you to get back with her. Or you go begging her to take you back. Don't do it. for the simple reason that it ended for a reason to start with. And it won't be long before, at the beginning, oh, you'll be swinging from the rafters with each other, bedroom Olympics, left, right and centre. The bouncing on bodies will seem never ending. And it's euphoric, it's brilliant. You're back together, the world's right, everything's as it should be. This is Romeo and Juliet, this is the Disney ending. It's fantastic. Until things settle down again. And then you start realising all of those petty niggles, all of that drama and that you couldn't put up with to begin with, is still there. Or she realises that you still leave the toilet seat up, you've still got skid marks on your underpants, you still leave the lid off the toothpaste, you still throw your dirty clothes on the floor, and all the things that about you that annoyed her is still there. Once that initial getting back together and everything's euphoric together, once that peters off, all of the problems that split you up in the first place are still there. Don't put yourself through it. What do you have to do to learn a lesson? And the lesson you had was you split up for a reason. That's it. Move on. There's bigger and better out there. There's a better fit for you out there than what has already failed. So, I'm sorry to my brother for not saying your name on this video because, you know, I think it is a great subject and I hope I've done justice to it for you. And for you brothers out there who are probably thinking of getting back with an ex, please think hard about it. Use your analytical mind. Take on board what I've just said. I'm not telling you you should or you shouldn't. You make the decisions for yourself because you are a man and men make their own decisions. All I'm doing is giving you my opinion. Do you agree with my opinion? Leave it in the comments down below. Do you disagree with my opinion? Leave it in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to give the video a like because these videos do like likes. It helps the algorithm, as does comments, as does subscribing, as does sharing these videos. If you know somebody who's going to get some information from this video, share it with them. If you know somebody who you think is trying to get back, and that was another part of the comments, he said a friend of his was thinking of getting back together. I've heard the I'm asking for a friend before, and if it's not you, I'm not saying it is you that's thinking of getting back with an ex, but no, it won't work. They very rarely do. Statistics point it out that those who have split up and got back together and split up and got back together, it creates a pattern. What splits you up in the first place? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. What split you up in the first place? Was it something major or something minor? Because both are red flags. If it was something major, there's a major problem. If it was something minor, there's a major problem. Because if something major, something minor, something small was why she left or why you left, there's a deeper, bigger meaning behind why you really left. It wasn't something little. Maybe you haven't figured it out in your own mind yet, but that's nonsense. So again, if it was something major, that's a huge red flag, and that's still going to be there. And if it was something minor, it really was something major. Anyway, my name's Andy R. I'm going for a cup of tea because I think I've earned one. You guys out there, you take care of yourselves because if you don't, who will? And I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.